Karan, thank you so much for taking the time out to do this today. Uh,
Pleasure.
you have been a huge proponent for international students and their welfare for many years now, where your various roles as Chancellor of the University of Birmingham, President of the UK Council for International Student Affairs, co-chairman of International Students APPG, and I'm sure there are more roles there. So I was just wondering if you would kindly share your thoughts on some of the issues that we are going to discuss today. We know that the pandemic has caused several problems. The US, which was a favored location for Indian students particularly, has now changed its visa restrictions. So now we're seeing a lot of Indian students looking to pursue higher education in other countries like Germany, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, etc. So in this scenario, what advantage do you think the UK has over these countries?
The international student situation, if you look at it historically, the most popular countries have always been the United States and the United Kingdom. There's no question about it. And even today, at any one time, there are more world leaders who've been educated at UK or US universities at any one time, way ahead of any other countries in the world. And that is the power of higher education here in the UK. We are very proud that we have some of the finest universities in the world, along with the United States of America. At any one time, there will always be 3 or 4 out of the top 10 universities in the world will be from the United Kingdom. Oxford and Cambridge, and Imperial, often University College London is in that list as well. So I'm very proud of our universities. They are the best in the world. When you look at our excellence in research, we're 1% of the world's population, and yet we produce 16% of the highest rated research papers in the world as a country. Which university has more Nobel Prizes than any other in the world? Not an American university. It's not Harvard, it's not Princeton, it's not Caltech, it's the University of Cambridge. So we are very proud of our excellence. And we are also very appreciative of the international students who come to the UK. The monetary part of it is important. It's a big export for us, and it's an unusual export that you're actually bringing people in terms of the export. But the financial figures are huge. International students bring in £26 billion a year to the UK economy. That's how powerful it is. 8 international undergraduates at the University of Birmingham, where I'm Chancellor, put £1 million into the economy. That is the impact of international students. So it's not just the fees that they pay, but it's the whole impact that they make. But I think actually far more important, the financial impact, is what international students do in enriching the experience of our domestic students. The domestic students and international students make lifelong friendships, generation-long friendships. And I can see that in my own family, where I'm the 3rd generation to be educated in this country, having come here from India. My father's father was a cadet at Sandhurst and was commissioned as one of the few Indians, King's commissioned officers into the Indian Army from Sandhurst. My mother's father was an undergraduate at the University of Birmingham in the 1920s, graduating in 1931 in commerce. He learned how to fly over here and joined the Royal Indian Air Force and served right through until the end of the Second World War. My mother was an undergraduate at the University of Birmingham studying English and history of art. Her brother did his PhD in engineering at the University of Birmingham. And I went to university here in this country. And now 2 of my children are at university. I have been at university and at university. A third one is about to go to university here in the United Kingdom. So 4 generations. So these are phenomenal friendships and generation-long links that are formed by international students coming to study here in the UK. I could go on talking about the Chevening Scholars, the Chevening Scholarship that was formed in the 1980s. Today has an alumni base of over 60,000 Chevening Scholars around the world. And every year, over 50,000 students apply for the Chevening Scholarships for 2,000 places every year to do a master's course of their choice at any university in the United Kingdom. And this alumni base is phenomenal. They're permanent ambassadors for the United Kingdom. So we should never underestimate the huge soft power that universities bring to this country and international students bring to the United Kingdom.
Okay, so talking further on the pandemic and the impact it's having, because it's difficult to talk about anything else at the moment, right? It's such a huge elephant in the room right now. UK universities are facing a significant decline in income due to an over-reliance on students from China. The UK think tank Onward is now calling for supporting domestic students in a bid to boost their numbers and decrease the number of international students coming to the UK. So, what are your thoughts on this? Can the UK find a middle path here?
And again, when you look at the international students around the world, it is, in the words of our former Prime Minister David Cameron, it is a global race. We are in competition. The United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, it is a competition. And even European countries, which are non-English speaking countries, are now increasingly attractive to international students, including from India. And so we have to, in the UK, make sure we continue to attract the best and brightest international students from around the world, and especially from India. And if you look up at the 450,000 international students, I'm using round numbers here, 450,000 international students in the UK, almost 1/3 come from China. Another 1/3, almost 1/3, come from the European Union, and then the rest from the rest of the world. And India has historically been the second largest country after China of international students over here. The big problem was the removal in 2012 by Theresa May, when she was Home Secretary, of the 2-year post-graduation work visa. This is something that's very personal to me, because as a member of the UK-India Roundtable, I brought up the point in a meeting in 2007. I brought it up in Parliament. I got cross-party support. The government listened, and the 2-year post-graduation work visa was brought in 2008. It was hugely popular. And as a former international student myself, I know how useful it is to be able to work for some time after you graduate, to earn some money, to gain some work experience, to further build the links with the UK, but also to help to pay for your education as well and help the economy in this country. It's a win-win for everyone concerned. It was taken away in 2012, and a lot of us have been fighting for it to be brought back, including at UKCISA, which you mentioned, the All-Party Parliamentary Group for International Students, which I'm proud to co-chair. And finally, the government has announced that they're bringing it back. And this is great news. And this has immediately seen an increase in the number of students from India, for example. It's rocketed and will continue to rocket. And for PhD students, it's one step further. It's 3 years that they can stay on and work after they graduate. So I think that's a huge move by this government, which we're very appreciative and will make a big difference in helping us to compete with these other countries, which all, Canada and Australia, for example, have very attractive postgraduate working arrangements for their international students. So with the pandemic, that's how important India is to me, to the UK, to the CBI. And I always say, if there's a special relationship that we have in the UK, yes, it's with the United States of America, but it's also with India. And I think that if we approach it on a global basis, that wherever an Indian from India studying in the UK works, he or she can always contribute back to India directly or indirectly. And I've been able to do that, and I want to do that for the rest of my life.